Welcome back. Hope that you enjoyed our video. Notre Dame's video does a very good job of sharing what college life is like here for our students at Notre Dame and the many things that you can experience during college life. Right now, what I'd like to do is introduce to you Ashley Carlin, who is our assistant director, and she is the program coordinator for the activities that we do online. And so Ashley's going to come right above me right here and just kind of do a little hello so that it could mimic the picture that you're looking at. So we're the team, we're the individuals that work together to make sure that the enrichment programs that you will encounter online are exciting, are definitely activities that will help you think thoughtfully and reflect on your journey as you're going through middle school and high school. So, ND Ignite 2.0 is an online enrichment program for high achieving students to help them realize their real journey towards college or university. And so, what could you expect on ND Ignite 2.0? Well, other than meeting other great students such as yourself from all across the country, what you can expect are activities that are really going to help you develop who you are as an individual. So, one of the first things that we focus on with seventh graders is the opportunity for them to focus on realization. That's the theme that we use. And realization focuses on your identity and purpose. We really believe as seventh graders, it's very important for you to think about who you are and what are some of the things that you can do with your life. How do we go about making sure that you come to that realization? Well, one of the activities we've done thus far is called the Strength Finders Assessment. And in that assessment, you have the opportunity to identify your strengths as well as your weaknesses. But the good thing about it is that it provides you an opportunity to research and look and see how your strengths can lead to certain things that you do well, and then also how to build up your weaknesses. In eighth grade, the theme is exploration. We're real excited about the eighth grade because eighth graders are, more or less the senior of their middle school or their elementary, and it's their last year before they journey on to high school. So, in middle school, what we focus on with this theme is looking at the areas of interest, whether it's your academic interests, whether they're career interest, or even self interest. And one of the things we try to do here is align your strengths and weaknesses along with some of your career interests so that you can figure out what are some things that I'm going to be interested in doing, not only academically, but also in terms of leadership activities or service activities. And so some of the assessments that you may participate in for your eighth grade is a career assessment where we look at various careers and things that you may be able to determine you're very good at. In addition, in eighth grade, as I mentioned, you're making that transition from middle school to high school. And so, what's really important for us is to make sure that you understand that transition. Many students, oftentimes in that transition, see a dip in their ninth grade. So, one of the things, and what I mean by a dip is sometimes in their academics, they don't do as well because they're not aware of how to navigate and make that transition very well. So, our responsibility is to make sure we help you and your parents understand what the expectations are of high school so that once you make that transition, it becomes very smooth for you. It doesn't mean that you're not going to encounter challenges. It just means that you'll have the information and awareness of how to navigate it successfully. Finally, in the ninth grade, which we call actualization and leadership, it's the opportunity for you to now fulfill the goal of what we've prepared you for in your seventh and eighth grade. And that is to successfully navigate your high school process so that you can enroll into the college or university of your choice. Yes, and that's what I said, of your choice, because you'll have the opportunity to learn during your years in high school the different things that are necessary for you to choose the college that is the best fit for you. And so in ninth grade, we're going to be focusing on what classes you're supposed to be taking, what leadership activities you should be involved in based on your interests, as well as what service activities you should be involved in. We'll be talking to you about the SAT and ACT, financial aid, financial literacy, and also about pre-college programs and college opportunities that will be available to you. So going through 7th through ninth grade, when you leave us and you move on to the 10th grade, and you will, one of the things that will happen in 10th grade is that although we will not be interacting with you as often as we have from the 7th through ninth grade, what we will do is we will begin to share with you what you need to do for pre-college programs. So one of the goals of students that participate in the ND Ignite program is that when they become a sophomore, that they begin looking at pre-college programs, not just here at the University of Notre Dame, but across the country, that will allow them to experience college life firsthand. And what we do during that time is we walk you through the application process. We talk to you about your statement of purpose that you will have to write, and we also talk to you about letters of recommendation. All these things are things that you will have to do when you become a high school senior, and the opportunity you have doing it as a sophomore will give you the leg up that you will need as a senior when it's time for you to go off to college. So in a nutshell, those are pretty much an overview of the various things that you will learn in ND Ignite 2.0. At this time, Ashley will now come and talk to you about the specifics that you will learn in Edmodo as well as Google+. Thank you, and I will talk to you again at the end of the presentation.
Thank you. All right, hello everybody. Again, my name is Ashley Carlin, and I'm the Assistant Director of Outreach and Engagement Recruitment at Notre Dame. I particularly oversee all of the programming that we ask our students to do. So as Dr. Coates mentioned, we have two platforms where all of this enrichment is going to take place. The first is Edmodo, the second is Google+. So I want to first talk to you a little bit about Edmodo. So as you can see, Edmodo looks a lot like an online classroom, and that's exactly what we use it for. We have students log into Edmodo to connect directly with their facilitator, who is me, as well as other key people who play a vital role in this enrichment process. Students are able to log in to view assignments, to turn in assignments. I'll talk to you more about what assignments look like shortly, but this is the place for that learning, for that online classroom enrichment community, if you will. Some of you may already use programs like Edmodo in your classrooms right now, so you may be familiar with what an online classroom looks like, but it's essentially a way for us to facilitate all of this information and disseminate all of this information to our students in live sessions. The second platform that we use is Google+. So Google+, by nature, is much of a social network. It is similar when you think of social networking to a Facebook, but what's great about our network is that it's private, it's by invite only, and it is secure. So we have all of our students part of this online Google Plus network. The great thing about Google Plus is that it allows us to bring the Notre Dame community to our students. So as you saw in the video, community, tradition, service, spirituality, those are key, important, and unique features of Notre Dame that, really drive home when you're on campus. So a way for us to facilitate this, because we know that not all of our students are going to be on campus with us, is to do this all via Google+. So like I said, Notre Dame students, alumni, faculty, and staff join our ND Ignite Connection students on this platform to get to know each other, to share what's going on campus, to host what's called Google Hangouts, and to really help facilitate this enrichment process. So you heard me mention Google Hangouts, and much of our assignments do happen over Google Hangout. A Google Hangout is very similar to a webinar. There's two types of Hangouts, just for your information. A Hangout on Air is very similar to a webinar where you can see the speaker, but the speaker cannot see you. Google Hangouts on Air are very interactive in that it allows for audience participation. You submit questions, you can participate in polls, etc. And it also allows for us to, again, disseminate a lot of information, whether it's from one speaker or from a panel of speakers, to our audience. There's also such thing as a Google Hangout where it's more of a face-to-face, very similar to a Skype session if you're familiar with Skype. And this will allow our students to interact directly with me if needed, in more of a small group, more of an intimate setting, and also connect directly with a Notre Dame student mentor. So we link all of our ND Ignite students with a mentor to help facilitate this enrichment process. So you keep hearing me say enrichment, enrichment, enrichment. It's very, very important that you understand that ND Ignite 2.0 is an enrichment program. We do not want it to be such that students have to attend a class and then have homework because they're already doing that. We want to provide our students with the tools and the resources that they need to support them in their journey to a college or university, specifically a highly selective college or university. So we ask students to log on 3 to 5 hours per week. And what that looks like is right now we have students logging on from Thursdays from 7 to 8:30 and Sunday afternoons from 4 to 5:30. So it's 3 hours per week where they know that their facilitator is online, ready with the session, with the material for the day, and ready to answer questions and be that resource. So all of the enrichment takes place during those sessions. So obviously we want our students to leave the session thinking about what we've talked about, thinking of how they can implement that in their daily life, but our goal is not to simply give out assignments and have students turn those assignments into us. We want all of the thinking and all of the meat to be done during those login sessions. So I do want to talk to you about some example activities and how Edmodo and Google Plus merged together to facilitate those activities. One activity is all about self-assessment, and we called it Are You Gritty? So students used an interdisciplinary approach, meaning we took information and knowledge from various disciplines to learn about grit. So what happens was we have a platform, an app in Edmodo where students or where our lesson plan is so that students have access to all of the information at one time, where we listen to a TED Talk speaker about a leading researcher in the field of grit. Students completed a short self-assessment. Notice that in self-assessments, there's no right or wrong answer. It's where you are is where you are, and you reflect on how well you do, or not how well you do, but you reflect on how you do. We also played a couple of online games and had students participate in polling questions so they can see how the larger audience thinks about things. And then we had a Google Hangout where we talked more about grit and students submitted discussion questions. So you can see that although it's an online session, it's very much like an online class. Another example activity relating more to the college prep component is why is it important to prepare for the SAT, and particularly why is it important to prepare early, even as early as middle school? So how does this even pertain to a 7th grader? So students listened to tuned into a Google Hangout where we had a panel discussion about the tests and about why it's important to prepare early. So students were able to interact with an enrollment management professional, which happened to be our lovely Dr. Coates. They also were able to communicate with a CEO of a test prep company, and also other individuals who have had 20 plus years in private tutoring experience. So students walked away with this understanding not necessarily what's going to be on the test, but why those tests are important to think about and why they're important to think about early. A final example that I wanted to share with you is more of a hands-on, essentially a meatier approach to enrichment, and that's how to write a strong admissions essay. So we had a group of students who were getting ready to apply to pre-college programs, which is what in 9th grade we will specifically focus on, because that's an opportunity for you in high school to experience life as a college student. So students actually participated in a Google Hangout where it was more of that Skype session that I talked to you about, that face-to-face interaction with me, and we talked about various things. So one, what is a pre-college program, and what does the application process look like? Specifically, why is the essay so important? We talked mostly about you have a word limit when you write an essay, and how do you portray your story? How do you sell yourself in 250 words or less? So we worked through various examples. We discussed how to make this happen, and students walked away knowing how to write an essay, but also knowing that they were able to submit that essay back for feedback from either myself or one of the other mentors. So these are some of the example activities of what we have our students do. So I want to wrap up my piece of this before I turn it back over to Dr. Coates, talking to you about next steps. So you know what the program looks like, you know what we do, why we do it, but where do we go from here? So you have a few next steps. The first is to apply. So we have all of our students apply to the program. Our application is very, very simple, and it is online, which is great for us. So what I want you to do is go to our website, which is admissions.nd.edu/ND Connection, and that's where you're able to access the application. The application will ask you just for some student information, parent information, your school information. We will also ask you to self-report your grades from your most current report card, and then we ask you to sign a transcript release, which essentially gives us permission to contact your counselor or your registrar or whatever official is at your school for your grade reports. It just tells them that you're okay with us doing that for the purposes of ND Ignite only. We are currently accepting applications, and we will continue to accept applications, although we do want to enroll students soon. So although there is not a specific program date, application date, do know that we have deadlines every month for submitting applications to start soon. Then we want you to, or once we view your application and release our admission decision to you, we for those students that we invite to the program, we would like them to commit by attending an online orientation for students and parents. This is when we specifically talk about expectations, talk about our standards, and talk specifically about what we will be doing in terms of curriculum moving forward. Once orientation is attended, we ask students and parents to sign a contract agreeing to these standards and expectations, and we will award everybody a certificate, which is proof, which is recognition that you are, in fact, an ND Ignite student. As Dr. Coates mentioned, we're a program for 7th through 9th graders, so we will continue to work with you as ND Ignite students until you finish the 9th grade. And so if you think about that as the program end date, that's the end date at the end of the 9th grade. Although we will continue, obviously, to keep in touch with you as you move forward in high school. So I did want to just mention that. And then lastly, we participate. We start doing all of our online activities, our online enrichment activities in Edmodo and Google+. So at this time, I want to turn it back over to Dr. Coates. Before that, I just wanted to say thank you again for attending today's session. It's great to kind of meet all of you over the internet, and I look forward to working with you in the future. Thanks.
So there you have it. We have provided you with all the information that you are going to need regarding being a participant in ND Ignite 2.0. And you may be saying to yourself, wow, should I really do this? What is the time commitment? And I have so much that's going on already in my life. Those are all very important questions that you and your parents should talk about. But at the end of the day, one of the things that you want to think about through this process is that through ND Ignite 2.0, you will have the chance to meet students from all across the country. You will have a chance to interact with them online, along with interacting with Notre Dame faculty, Notre Dame students, and also being a part of the various cutting edge activities that we will showcase on ND Ignite 2.0. With all of that in mind, think about your decision to participate and how that will enrich what you are already doing academically. Remember, you are some of the best students across the nation, and our goal is to be in touch with you, to develop a relationship and rapport with you, and most importantly, make sure we provide you with all the information that is necessary so that you can make the best decision about how you navigate through middle school and high school and choose the college or university of your choice. Thank you again for being with us. Have a wonderful day, and we look forward to all of your applications as well as your questions. Take care.